My name is Val. I'm an animator, so that means I draw pictures frame by frame, or at least that's the kind of animation I do. I'm a painter also, and I have children, and I do art with them all the time. And I know a lot of us are going to be trapped inside for a while, or enjoying inside for a while, depending. Probably is different day to day. And I thought maybe I would make some art and help you guys out there make art also. Canada's very cold, and these are really, really comfy. Before taking maternity leave, I was teaching art at the Guggenheim Museum, and I also taught at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Today I thought I would show you a bit about watercolor. Now, the main thing I want you to know about watercolor is it is an art of surprises. If you try to control it, you'll get really frustrated. If you let it do its own thing, you'll be very happy. And once you've played with it a little bit and seen what its own thing is, you can anticipate what it'll do. And then you actually do get a sense of some control. This is a wash, where you use a lot of water and a little paint. See, it's a very light blue. I could add more paint. Another technique is wet on wet, where you use a wash, or maybe you've just added water to your paper. And then you put other paint on it. And the paint just bleeds into the water. Another technique is dry brush. Dry brush is where you take the brush, get all the water off, get some paint on it, and even still, dry it off, and then it gets a scratchy effect. You wouldn't want that for a whole painting, but here and there it can be a really interesting technique. The fact that everything bleeds can be a big frustration for some people, but if you embrace it, it can be a really beautiful part of the painting. Another technique you can use here and there is scattering some salt on your painting. So I'll let that dry for a little bit, put it aside, and when it's done, it'll look something like this. Ta-da! So I had to scrape the salt off when it was fully dry, and it gets these little interesting effects. I'm using a regular kids watercolor set. It comes with a little palette over here. You could also use a ceramic plate. You can wash that off, and it's safe to eat off of after you've washed it. Sometimes I use an ice cube tray with small kids. The main thing is you want it to be a non-absorbent surface. So if you're using disposable plates, you'll want something that has a waxy finish, or plastic plates. Okay, so we have a few different experiments. There is wet on wet, which started out as a wash. There's dry brush. And then there is seeing how colors bleed, or don't bleed if you let it dry a little bit and then apply color. I would suggest you start with these techniques and see what else you can discover. Here are some recent little studies that I've been working on. This one I was using a square brush, like this one. I would load it in yellow and this brownish color, and then make these smooth lines. Here's another similar one, different colors. So I was exploring which colors I wanted to use, the mark I wanted to make, and the brush I wanted to use. So now we're looking at two paintings that may look very different than what we are doing, but I wanted to go up close and show you that it's using the exact same techniques. These were painted by my grandmother, Esther Rogoff, and here you go. That is wet on wet. Here we have some dry brush, I think down here, we could probably find some more dry brush. Right, there we go. That gray part. We have an area where she clearly waited for things to dry. The window shades do not bleed into the shadowy color. And here's the chimney. You can see that the eye is very forgiving. The sky is showing through that chimney. Her pencil line is still visible. But when you take in the picture in full, it looks very realistic. You can be very bold with color. It doesn't have to match what you think the color should be. You wouldn't think to put all these purples in the side of a barn, most likely. The brown that's on the edges of the painting is tape. She taped it down before she painted. That is a really good technique because then the paper won't warp and move so much with the water. That taped part would be underneath the frame.